Okay. How you doing?
I'm well, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I,
Good deal.
I take it that you're standing. Is that as part of your
I,
fitness regime?
I am, man. I am. I was in the studio recording, so I just went from the microphone to here.
Okay, okay. Definitely good to be able to have you on board and stuff. Um, we've got an international audience, and it's always great just to be able to let them know where you're sort of born and raised, so we can get a
Yeah.
sense about you. It'd be great just to hear where you were born and raised.
Yeah, so I am a native Atlantan, one of the few that still reside in the city. Um, Grew up in the projects, man. Uh, Area called Thomasville. And that's what raised me, man. I come from humble beginnings, and I'm so grateful because as I started to achieve and just get some success, I never really forgot where it all started from. My roots are planted in the Atlanta soil. And so anywhere I go, I'm Atlanta representing whatever I do for my foundation. The work that we do, it serves the part of town that I grew up in. And so when I talk about Atlanta, I talk about it proudly because Atlanta poured a whole lot into me, man. And so I'm always representing my city.
I think most of us would know that Atlanta became sort of the black Mecca where a lot of entertainers and everyone moved from the East and the West into
Yeah.
Atlanta. Can you tell us what? Because you believe it or not, I went to college in Selma, Alabama, so it was about an
Okay.
hour and a half away. So, and we used to go up to Marietta to see family pre-Olympics. So
Yeah.
how was Atlanta? Because pre-Olympics, Atlanta wasn't what it was after the Olympics and all the money came. But what was it like growing? Because it gets good for people to know what Atlanta really was before the Olympics and the money came in. And
Yeah. So Atlanta pre-Olympics was it was still just a place where there was black excellence, especially in the entertainment industry. A lot of your top artists in hip hop and R&B had some type of affiliation with Atlanta, and Atlanta had a strong movement during one phase of the legacy of hip hop and R&B from Outkast,
uh,
TLC, Monica, Usher, 112, Jagged Edge, Silk. Um, Man, you name it. It's just so many artists, and I'm just talking about from the R&B's perspective, not even T.I. and Luda and Two Chains and Jeezy. Like, and these are native Atlantans, not
mm.
before. This is pre-Olympics. Those that just were born and raised in Atlanta, and so it still had movement. But I can tell you, after the Olympics or during the Olympics, I personally watched my city just almost be like just put on steroids, man, because it went from Atlanta to Atlanta over the course of a summer. But I mean, it started to build because obviously before the Olympics come, you have to prepare. And so
Yeah.
expanding the city, gentrification, and all that kind of stuff were happening. And man, we went from a four-lane highway and moderate traffic to now 8 lanes and it's bumper to bumper traffic.
But how did that affect where you grew up? Because you said you grew up in the hood. How did
Yeah.
did it improve it or did it make it worse?
Well, gentrification started to happen. Where I grew up, I no longer hadn't been there in years because my parents ended up moving from the Thomasville Heights area when I was in the fifth grade, and then we moved closer to East Point. But anything that was labeled like the inner city parts of town
Yeah.
started to be expanded, and then a lot of people were pushed out into the suburbs so that the city of Atlanta, could really become what the city of Atlanta now represents. And so a lot of the apartment complexes, a lot of the as they call them, the homes, like the apartment homes, were torn down to build
Wow.
these massive skyscrapers, and to make the city more appealing to those that would come from other parts of the country and the world.
How did the introduction of LaFace back in 1990 or so change your dream about actually getting into the industry?
How did the introduction say your
When
question
LaFace
again?
moved into your city, LaFace Records,
Yes.
did that make it seem like, oh, actually, I could actually become
Well, it wasn't necessarily LaFace, because prior to LaFace, you had So Def, you had Organized Noise, you had Dallas Austin Recording Project, which was DARP and
yeah.
Rowdy Records. And so LaFace just became one of the representative musical homes for all of this talent that was in Atlanta. And so when you think about those four labels, LaFace, So Def, Organized Noise, and Rowdy Records, which is Dallas, think about all of the artists that came through there. T.I. and Outkast and Monica and Usher and Jagged Edge and Escape and the Brat and Bow
Mm.
Wow and I mean Goody Mob. I mean,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
with just those four labels, think about all the artists that came from those labels. And by the time 112 was looking for a home, these labels had already solidified their male R&B position,
Mm.
which then opened us up to start looking for opportunities outside of Atlanta. And
Mm.
then here comes Puffy and Bad Boy, New York based. And so we leave from Atlanta and go up to New York. And 112 and Bad Boy became synonymous.
Yeah. But when did you personally think about pursuing a career as a singer? And actually, we also talk about songwriter because you pretty much wrote 90% of the 112 catalog. But when did you discover that talent of singing and writing?
As early as I can remember, my mom says 1, 2 years old, I would hum and just was a noise box. But I remember as early as maybe 4 years old, singing in the church choir, um, and just singing around the house, wanting to emulate or imitate those that my mom was playing throughout the house. Anita Baker, Smokey Robinson, a lot of the gospel artists. I would just imitate them. And my mother and my father at one point realized like he does this all the time, whether
Mm.
he think he's doing it or whether he's asked to do it, he just does it all the time. So there may be something. And so I'm so grateful that they was able to identify that this was something that I gravitated to. And they supported me in every way that they possibly could, from you know, taking me back and forth to voice lessons. And then
Mm.
when I was in the elementary school choir, traveling and driving me to city competitions and state competitions. And I ran across my elementary school teacher, my course teacher, Miss Cynthia Terry, who really just she stayed on me, man. She just said, "Yo, regardless of you being ridiculed, because back then singing wasn't cool, and if
Mm.
you were a singer, your classmates made fun of you. They picked on you,
Wow.
called you names because you were singing." And my music teacher would always tell me, she said, "Quinnis, don't worry about what they say because they just don't understand that this will take you to places that you've never imagined. If you commit to it and you give it its just due, it'll take you places." And maybe she was a prophet. She knew what was ahead,
Ah, wow.
but she planted that seed in me in elementary school, and I've never forgotten Miss Cynthia Terry.
Yeah, so for those of us outside of America, that's like primary school. So that's quite young to be able to
Yeah,
be inspired by that.
yeah.
What about when did you get into writing?
Writing, I didn't get into writing until I met my brothers, Mike Slim and Duran. We had an idea that we were going to be a self-contained unit.
Mm.
So, being the last member to join the group, Mike Slim and Duran were already steps ahead of me. They were already writing songs. And in order for me to be in the group, I had to carry my own weight. And yeah, we sang cover songs, but we took pride in creating originals. And just being with them every day, listening to Cadence, Duran, being a producer and a
Mm.
musician, pianist, I would just listen to everything. I started listening to other genres of music. I was sneaking listen to it because my parents wouldn't allow us to listen to anything outside of gospel. And I just fell in love with the fact that I could think of something, or I can fantasize about something, or I can dream of something and then articulate it musically. Man, that was like, wow, this is fun. But I also am the voice for the voiceless. I am also the orator for those who wants to say something but necessarily can't put the words together. So that became what drove me as a songwriter, just narrating our lives.
Mm. The you mentioned about your parents saying about, you can only listen to gospel music. Were you also of the generation that actually sang in church and home to talent in church?
Absolutely. I believe the church is the greatest teacher.
Mm.
Is where you get your reps, you build your chops, you build tough skin.
Mm.
Um, so it was the greatest for me. My developmental stages were super vital in just my growth as a musician. But when you think about all of the other artists that also got their start in church,
Mm.
we just different, man. we
Yeah.
we different. We just different. Yeah.
Well, that's what's lacking in today's music is that there is the foundation that you had in church and the audience and the ability to connect with the orator of music is missing, and so you have everyone sounding like they're rapping on autotunes, and so you can see why there's a disconnect to us to current R&B new artists, not those who've gone through the process.
Yeah.
So with that though, um, which artist did you sort of gravitate to when it came to your vocal style and how you thought you wanted to be as a singer?
So I was heavily influenced by initially gospel artists. So John P. Key, commissioned,
Okay.
Derek Coley, The Winans, Take Six. But then as I got older and I could kind of, you know, sneak and listen to some stuff here and there. My mom was very interesting, right? We couldn't listen to secular music, is what they called it then. But my mother loved Anita Baker. She loved
Ah.
Regina Bell. She
Mm.
loved Smokey Robinson. And so she would play those songs. And so those were a lot of my early influences. And then when I got in maybe my high school years, I was able to branch out a little bit more. BB and CC Winans, who had a gospel, they were gospel genre, but their delivery seemed like it
Yeah.
was R&B a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Commission had that R&B kind of approach to their delivery, the Winans somewhat. And then I was introduced to like Brian McKnight, Boys to
Mm.
Men, and Jodeci. And now my R&B approach started to
Uh,
be developed. I had the gospel and just the natural ability to sing, but learning how to perform an R&B record is something that you have to learn because it is
mm.
a skill. Just because you can sing doesn't mean you can deliver an R&B record. There are certain nuances that you have to learn in how to properly deliver an R&B record. And once I started listening to those, and then Mike Slim and Duran, I'm with them every day, and so I'm picking up little things from them. Um, just adding it to my bag, right?
Yeah.
And now it got me to the point where I had just grabbed so many things from so many people into my little gumbo mix that when I was ready to deliver what does the Q Parker sound like,
Yeah.
I could deliver my voice, but it's influenced by all these ingredients that's in my gumbo delivery.
Okay. Was there ever a time because I know you're a solo artist now, but back then, were you ever thinking about being a solo artist, or were you always thinking about being in a group?
I never thought about being a solo artist. I came into this game with my brothers, and as far as I could see as a teenager, that was just the only vehicle that I and we would ride in.
Wow.
However, as we grow as men, as we
Mm,
grow, some things we just you have different set of priorities, you have different interests, and there came a point in time where we decided that we would allow ourselves to explore our individuality.
yeah.
And as a songwriter, I was writing songs in my studio to submit to other artists, and every now and then I would get a song that I just felt no one could deliver but me. And so I would put it over to the side. Well, after a while, I had about 8 records over to the side, which then became like the foundation of my first solo project in 2012. So big shout out to Malico and Tummy Couch, father and son, for seeing something in me to give me an opportunity to release my first solo album under Malico Records.
Okay, but initially you probably is it the confidence thing about wanting to be part of starting with a group and finding your voice in a
Yeah.
group as opposed to, I always want to be solo, but I saw this opportunity. But initially it was about, being in a group was the best
Yeah.
way to find your voice. Who were your
Yeah.
influences then, group wise then? Because I know Jodeci was out and Drew Hill and Blackstreet and Silk. They were all.
Anybody that came before us. So if you look at it from like classes, right? Like a graduating class. Our class was 112, Jagged Edge, Drew Hill, Next.
Mm,
Um, that's our class.
yeah, yeah,
The class before us would be Silk and Blackstreet, Silk, Intro,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
H Town,
yeah,
right? But then the class before them would be Jodeci, Boys to Men, right? So it's different. It's classes,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so when you talk about group influences, anybody that graduated in the class before me and us were an influence to us because we needed to make sure that we didn't drop the ball, the
Yeah.
legacy baton when it came to R&B groups. And so in 112 is some Boys to Men, it's some Jodeci, it's some Take Six and Commission and Winans and Guy and Blacks. Like we just brought a lot of all of that into who we wanted to be viewed as and who we wanted to sound like. But we just took all of those components, sprinkled in our own little 112 sauce, and then it became what the world was able to hear.
So I've interviewed Bob Robinson and I've interviewed Tim Kelly
Yes,
separately.
yes,
And I told Bob
yes,
first, and I said that the 112 debut album is probably my favorite debut album. It's an album that there's no skips, that from the start,
yeah,
the interlude, it is just phenomenal. And
yeah,
and then, and I still believe that if I listen to it now, I start and I don't skip. I just listen to it. I can't say
yeah,
that with any album other than that album. He also told me about, you know, finding you guys and setting you guys up. They had to go, Dallas sent them to LA to do some work. They come back and you guys are with Puffy, and it was almost like, and then how the whole fallout with Dallas and everything. How hard was it for you guys when Tim and Bob just go away to do some work and then you get poached and moved away? Did you feel guilty? Did you feel like,
So that story, this is my first time hearing that story. So I
oh,
didn't know
okay.
that that was how, yeah, I didn't know that that's how it played out. But what I will tell you is a lot of who we are. If you look at the foundation of 112 and what components uh were a part of that foundation, Tim and Bob is probably the main ingredient.
Mm,
Because when we went to Dallas, he assigned us to Tim and Bob, and Tim and Bob taught us how to record in the studio. Tim
mm.
and Bob helped us hone and perfect our sound.
Yeah, your harmonies are amazing.
We already had this innate ability to harmonize, and we were all four lead singers.
Mm,
But I believe the time that we spent with Tim and Bob, man, they nurtured us in a way that just kind of elevated our natural gift with who they were and what they
Yeah.
had been able to do with, Boys to Men and everybody that they had already worked with. And so
Yeah.
I would like to think that us meeting them was just as great as them meeting us, because what we did together was just something magical, something beautiful. And when it comes to like those first three albums, we were never going to do a record, an album
Mm.
without Tim and Bob being a part of it, man. Like I personally owe a lot to the both of them, for just loving us the way that they did,
Yeah.
taking us in the way that they did. But to address the other part of your question, you know, we wanted an opportunity, and
Mm.
at the time, we wanted Dallas to sign us. Um, and we had a 90-day agreement with Dallas. Well, once the 90 days were up, during those 90 days, we were in the studio every day with Tim and Bob. They were assigned to helping us create a sound.
Yeah.
But after the 90 days were up, um, Dallas had found interest in another group that he wanted to sign, more so than he wanted to sign us, which left us like, well, so what do we do now? Just so happened that Puffy was coming in town. Our manager at the time had a great relationship with Puffy. We
Mm.
auditioned for him in the front of the club, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so the way Bob and both Tim said it, it was Dallas sent them to LA to do some stuff, and they were ready to get you signed and do the work. But when they came back, when that happened, Dallas was mad. He said he was going head to head with Puffy, but Puffy had to call Bob and say, "Look, we can't find the sound for these guys. We need you guys on this project because we've tried everything." And Dallas said, "Don't do it," because he was still mad, but they kind of begged Dallas to say, "Good, let us, these are our kids, our boys. We can't let them down because of this."
So wait, so Dallas wanted, so from them, Dallas actually wanted to sign us. See, we never got that. We
Yeah,
once our 90-day agreement with Dallas was up, I remember verbatim, Dallas went to Tuskegee, Alabama, and saw these three guys that were in a group. I forget the name of the group, but he brought them back from Tuskegee to Atlanta, and that's where his interest was. And so it just kind of had us feeling like, well, this is no longer an opportunity for us. And our
yeah.
management was like, yo, here's an opportunity right here. You
Yeah,
would win
no,
for
no,
it.
no. Because the guys, Tim and Bob were in LA. I think they were working with Boys to Men. They had to do the Boys to Men stuff, and when they came back, they were
Wow.
like, where's the guys? And they said, oh, they're signed with Puffy, and so Dallas and Puffy fell out. Tim and Bob, they were like, wow, this industry, we didn't realize and stuff, and they realized all the
Man,
work they put in you
you know,
guys.
when I finish this interview, I'm calling Tim and Bob because I want to hear that story for real. I never heard that.
Oh yeah, okay. As I said, I've yeah, interviewed both of them
Wow.
separately,
And
and
and and and it goes to show you, the type of guys that Tim and Bob are, because even after all of that,
yeah,
they still came to New York
yeah,
and helped us lay down the foundation of album number one.
yeah.
And we couldn't have done that without Tim and Bob, man. So
I mean, Dallas
much.
told him not to go, not to talk to Puffy, just leave everything. And they said, "No, we can't leave you guys hanging." Because Puffy says,
Wow.
"We can't find the sound. We can't do anything. We've tried, and we need you guys on the project." So it was because they felt for you guys that they went in, and Dallas was angry
Wow.
with them for a minute, but eventually calmed down. So yeah, it shows them the impact you guys
Wow.
had on them.
Oh man, that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, were you surprised with how well the success of the debut album, how people just took to you? Because it's not easy. You talked about Dallas seeing some guys from Tuskegee, but they never really came out. So it isn't a guarantee that you work
Mhm.
with any producer and be a success. But were you
Right.
surprised how quick out the back you guys blew up?
I won't say surprise, right? Because I think we all felt that we had what it was going to take, and we felt like, we were just as good as, or even better than anybody else that was out. Um, but your chances are super, super high when your first single has the Notorious B.I.G. on it, has
Yeah,
Biggie Smalls on it.
yeah,
And at the time, everything Puffy and Bad Boy was putting out,
yeah,
it it's like if the scale was from 1 to 10, just because we were on Bad Boy, we started at a 6.5, and
yeah,
then add on the top of that that you got a dope record with Biggie Smalls on it, you coming out the gate 8.5.
yeah, yeah,
And then you add the fact that we were workaholics and we wanted it so bad that we were willing to work. We did every city, every radio station,
mm,
every meet and greet, every autograph signing, which made up the other 1.5%. So we
yeah,
come out the box 10.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, as I said, I love that day. I still, I mean, that 112 album, and then you just kept going on and going on. And I mentioned that you pretty much wrote 90% of the songs, the catalog on all the albums. How did you guys share I know Deron did a lot of the music, but how did you guys commit to sharing? Okay, you can write here, so it didn't seem as if anyone was left out.
well, we had a formula. The formula usually worked with either Duran coming up with an idea, and he would have a hook and the music done, and then he would present it to the group. Once he's laid the foundation, and then from there, everybody would just whatever you felt uh, grabbed you, that's
Mm.
what you would take it. So in any given day, if I felt the bridge, I would be like, all right, I got the bridge. Slim may take the verse, Mike may take the hook. And we would just we would add our components. And then once we presented it to everybody, I may add a little to what you had. He may add a little bit to what I had. And we had a really, really nice formula. And then Duran and I started to doing things as like a songwriting production duo. We were able to do stuff outside of 112, but the 112 formula included all four of us. But then Duran and I started doing outside
Okay. I,
production.
when I think of groups that had that sort of formula, it's you think of U2, Coldplay, that REM.
Yeah,
They they
yeah.
made it sure that look, you know what, if we all write, if we all take part of it, we all get credit, it adds to longevity because there isn't this sense of, oh, you're writing all the stuff and making all the money. And I'm sure when you guys started, you weren't thinking, man, if I write a little bit more, I get more percentage of my publishing. Was that in the mind, or was it just, let's just make great music and no one thought about those things?
In the beginning, it was just, yo, we want to just make great music. And what I do represents 112, what you do represent 112. And we want to present the best version of ourselves with the gifts and the talent that we have. At that point, it didn't matter who did what. It was a representation of all four of us.
Yeah. Coming from a sort of Christian background, how did fame and success impact you? Or was it, were there challenges?
Absolutely, absolutely challenges. This industry is, I believe, is designed to get you to swing at bad pitches. Uh, if you play baseball, it's very rare that you just gonna get pitches thrown at you straight down the middle and at a
Mm,
speed that in which you can hit it, right?
yeah.
And so I think this industry is designed to throw curveballs, sliders, off
Wow.
speed pitches, all of those things to get you to swing at them. And so yeah, there are going to be challenges, especially when you come from a sheltered
Mm,
Christian background where you haven't really experienced a whole lot. You haven't had the room to even expand your ideology or anything like that. And so now given that freedom, that access, you have a little fame and notoriety, and you're still a teenager, you haven't really started to process life as an adult by yourself, then yes, there are challenges. But I'm grateful that we had quote unquote chaperones and management around us during those times that sheltered and covered us and protected us in a lot of ways. And then, we all had praying grandmamas.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it must be hard because, when I spoke with Mr. Dalvin of Jodeci, he's, for 1 minute they're hustling to get to New York, and the next minute they're in front of, the Durham fans, and you don't. no one's teaching you how to manage your money. No one's teaching you the industry, and that's how you can easily get taken advantage of and being pulled this and that direction. Um, but for yourself though, because you were saying you couldn't even listen to secular music back in the day. Now you're you're on Bad Boy, you're singing and doing all this stuff. How did your parents sort of did they just say, "Oh, you're making money. That's okay, kids"? Oh, how did they manage that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, man. It was quite the contrary to that. It was a total opposite of that. My parents didn't want me to do it. My church family shunned me and
Wow.
had not the nicest things to say. It was a bad time for a teenager to be making that type of a decision, especially when all I've known at that time is my church family. And growing up Kojic, my church was a small church, so everybody knew each other. Everybody was
Mm,
kind of family. And then when I made the decision to pursue the record deal, those people that were family were whispering now, and so it wasn't the greatest of seasons for me. But again, I still give my parents grace too because it was new to them. They
yeah.
didn't understand. No one in the family had any type of experience in this, and so they were just only trying to protect their baby. I'm the youngest of four, so they were just trying
Wow.
to protect their baby. We surely can't just allow you as a teenager to go live in New York, this big apple, and all of the things that we hear about the big city. And so they were doing all that they could to protect their baby. But at some point, I said to my parents, "This is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it whether you give me your graces or not."
Wow. Oh,
Fortunately, they eventually came around because the type of music that we were making wasn't anything that was detrimental to society, or
yeah.
it was R&B music. And again, my mother loved R&B music. She just was a church woman.
Yeah.
And so and so once we started to achieve some success and make a little bit of money, it made people and everybody lighten up a little bit on this wasn't such a bad idea after all.
Yeah. But then does it put pressure on you to not live like a saint, but be mindful of the temptations of the music industry?
I would say it didn't because once my mind was made up, I was putting every foot forward. But again, putting every foot forward, I never forgot the foundation in which I was raised.
Yeah.
My mom and dad did an amazing job in my community because I grew up in the era where the village did raise the child. And
Okay.
so they did an amazing job pouring into me values and more and core principles. Now, again, as a youth, you're still gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna try things, and you're still gonna do things that may not be the benefit for you. But I'm blessed to be able to still say that I had no heavy hangups. Um, I'm not strung out. I'm not depressed. I'm not. So I like to think that I did a pretty good job navigating success and fame at such a young age.
Yeah. I think eventually I'm going to get onto Q's summer music camp for your
Uh-huh.
13 to 17 because I guess it probably speaks to why you have that foundation because of your own experience and how you're raised. I think the
Yeah.
question others would have is I don't think there's a formal school of understanding the music business for teenagers getting signing record deals.
Mm.
On reflection, when you think about times there, what could have been done differently for each of you, especially, from what your upbringing and trying to understand how the business works and not just singing and making music for other people to make money off of.
Well, the first thing is just understanding that it's a business, and in any business, there's somebody on the top level, there's somebody on the bottom level. Obviously, the higher you go up, the more of the lion's share you are able to receive and retain. And so, I don't necessarily approach that question from a what could I have done differently because I believe everything that you go through prepares you for where you are currently.
Mm,
I don't know that if I had an easier road that I would feel compelled to have a foundation that teaches and nurtures the next generation. Who knows if we had not gone through some of the things that we went through what type of artist, what type of music we would have been able to make. And so I don't ever say what I wish could have happened. I receive all that did happen, and then it's up to me to decide how I want to allow that to affect me. Now, I do think that as you enter the industry, there should be a like a players union or so,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that gives you like an introductory
Mm,
course on what to expect. There is none. And so this is why I do what I do with my foundation, to make sure that these teenagers have at least a basic understanding of what this industry entails, from the artistry side as well as the business side.
yeah, I mean, it is cutthroat, and I think a lot of people who are running labels, they also got burnt, and so they're like, well, I need to get my own back, so I'm going to do it this way, and
Yeah.
I think that explains the decision to go to Def Jam, because I think that was a fresh start and an ability just to make up for what was lost when you guys moved to Def
Well,
Jam.
yeah, so I wouldn't say necessarily make up what was lost. I would just say we just had a better opportunity, because you think about it. If we didn't do the initial Bad Boy deal, we wouldn't have gotten to the point where Def Jam would even want to
Yeah,
sign us from Bad Boy. So um as you grow older, you embrace different mindsets, different ideologies, different perspectives, and so I'm super grateful of my time and our time at Bad Boy, but I also appreciate what we were able to do with the Def Jam deal, and really be shown how much we were appreciated. Not to say that
mm,
we weren't appreciated during our Bad Boy years, but we signed the standard contract that
yeah,
was given out in those years. Every artist that started pretty much had the same type of deal,
yeah,
because what's crazy is we were young, but the CEOs of our record companies were young too.
yeah, yeah,
Dallas was a teenage record label owner. Jermaine Dupri was a young adult label owner.
yeah,
Sean Combs was a young adult label owner.
yeah,
Organized Noise, Rico Wade was a 22-year-old, your early 20. So they were only issuing what the people above them said to
yeah,
issue. Hey, issue this contract to all of your artists.
mm,
They didn't know. So again, I'm just one of those guys where I'm gonna extend grace first and foremost,
yeah,
because we're all trying to learn as we're in our youth, and as when you know better, you do better. Now,
yeah, yeah,
for those who didn't try to go back and make good on the contracts, then that's a different conversation. But when people are asking me about the initial contracts, we wasn't given anything that no other artist during that time
yeah,
was given, because they were the standard agreements that were
yeah,
told to the label owners, give these out to your artists to sign.
yeah. And I think one of the things you would always say that Bad Boy may put you guys on the map globally, and then by the time you got to Def
Yeah,
Jam, you've got a platform to say, okay, let's see what we can do, what we've learned and stuff.
exactly.
Of all the albums you guys released, what would be your favorite?
I mean, man, we did some amazing work. But I believe that you can never forget the beginning. And so had it not been for album number one, who knows where we would have gone. And so I don't necessarily like to approach that question and answer it from a favorite perspective, but more so special. And the most special album to me is the first one, because it was the introduction
Mm.
to of 112 to the world.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely my favorite. When we move over to today, um, you've co-founder of a Paramount Collective Ventures. What is that?
So Paramount Collective Ventures is business that I have with my three partners. My partners are also part of management, and it's just a collective. I believe in collaborations. I believe in a collective force. All of us have a specific area of expertise that when you bring them all together, we like a locomotive machine, super unstoppable, impenetrable, and all of those things. And the goal is to use Q Parker as the template
Mhm.
that even as a seasoned artist, you can still release new music. But there's a formula that which we apply that leads to or yields to having some type of success. And so the goal is hopefully artists that are from my genre and even I mean my era and even the current era to just kind of see how we move and it become the template for other artists to want to become a part of PCV Paramount Collective Ventures.
So are you then looking at doing, I won't call it 360, but you've got management, you've got, I guess, writing, production. So any young talent that you see you can invest in can see an opportunity with the group, or is it mainly just a vehicle for you?
No, no, no. I'm the prototype. And
Okay.
so I'm the tester. We're showing and we're proving that the formula that we've implemented, it
Yeah.
works. Not only is it working for Q Parker, but it also can work for you as well.
Okay. That then with that, did you the one RPM? Did you? What's that partnership and what are they doing to support your new single?
Yeah, so RPM is our distributor.
Okay.
And they do all of the distribution, but they also do some digital marketing as well. And we just believe in partnerships, man. Partnerships are to me the best way and the key to having just some success in today's world. It's not about, for me, not record deals and the old way of embedding yourself with individuals and other talents. But partnerships to me is the way to go. We have an amazing partnership with ONErpm. They're a local based distributor, which is great for me because they are Atlanta based. I'm Atlanta based. So if I need to get to them real quick, I can just drive down the street. So it's always good to have your distributor very, very close to you. So I appreciate the fact that they are who they are, but they also reside in Atlanta.
Is it? I mean, I know it's a lot different when you're selling 2 million albums and going platinum and gold and stuff like that. But what are the challenges as an independent artist today, really getting good music heard and appreciated?
Uh, Give me the last part of your question again.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about you've got good music that you're putting all this work in, it's different when you had, okay, we've released an album, we released a single, Def Jam's gonna take it to the radio, it's gonna be on BET, and it becomes a major hit. Without that major machine, because controlling what the audience used to listen to, now anyone can just release a song every day. And so it's very
Yeah.
saturated. So what are the challenges now as an independent artist to try and get that music to cut through all that's out there?
Yeah. Man, I don't even look at it from the perspective of trying to cut through. I prepare the meals that I can prepare. And it's up for those who want to consume the meals that I prepare to come sit at my table. I realize that, man, I might not be everybody's cup of tea, but if you want some romance and if you want some sound melodies and great production, then I might be your guy. But if I'm not, man, there's so many artists out here. Um, and another thing is just being able to understand the landscape of today.
Yeah.
Whereas, back in the 90s, we had the labels to do all of the department heads to manage and mastermind the things. But now, as an independent artist, we have to do these things on our own. And so I've learned collaborations, partnerships, teamwork. I've learned a lot of things, man, on just how to be a viable a just a participant in today's industry and the things that you have to do. Social media is big, and so
Mm.
a lot of artists from my era can't really connect with how the social media what role it plays. But it's something that I've had to learn. I'm not the best at it. I've gotten better, but I've also brought in people to assist me so
Mm.
that I can make sure that I'm able to put out to the world great content, so that people can keep up with me and know what I have going on.
Yeah, you talk about social media. There was a point where if any of you, if anyone follows you on Instagram, there was a lot of emphasis on physical fitness and working out. I think especially during the lockdown and stuff. And then
Mhm.
the next minute we're seeing you do a lot of sort of public speaking and a lot of sort of empowerment of black men. So it felt like
Yeah.
you put music to the side and you were taking care of his spirit, soul, and mind. What was that transition like during that lockdown time and beyond?
Man, it prepared me for who the world is seeing right now, because you're right. I did need a moment to just kind of center myself, and do give my time and energy to other things that were important to me, and community, family, brotherhood.
Mm.
All of those things are super, super important to me. But while I was doing all of those things, I was just surveying the landscape, because I could put out music any day of the week if I wanted to. I'm just that gifted, and I've been blessed to have that ability. But I don't want to just shoot blanks. I wanted to make sure that when I do shoot, it's gonna have a place to land and a place to occupy. So yeah, while I was doing all those other things, I was just trying to figure out what space could I occupy in this R&B, male R&B, in space. And so I was able to identify that I wanted to bring some romance to the game. And it took 12 years, but I finally found a space that I felt comfortable enough to be able to issue songs like Beg and Now Keep On Loving, and then all of the other songs that are on the EP.
Yeah, so I mean, I think now. So that was your wife who was became the mystery lady up to the very end, right? In the video bag.
Yes,
Okay. Eh,
yes.
What was? How did the concept of the of that song come about, and then even thinking about how to do the video as well?
Yeah. Well, I knew I wanted her to be a part of the video, because the video and the song is basically talking about, in relationships, uh, begging should be a regular occasion, and
Mm.
not just because you messed up, not because you've done this, or not the typical definition of the word beg, but just offer a sense of desire, want. And so I'm gonna beg for you. I'm gonna do a positive beg for you daily, and I didn't want it to be portrayed by an actress or anything. Like, I wanted my wife to be a part of the video. The video was inspired by her and just our relationship, and so who better to carry out the visual of this than she and I?
And she was okay, easy to jump on board and doing the video at first, or did
No,
it take
not at first. No,
took some begging?
I had to convince her to do it. Yes.
Okay. Were you surprised with the success of that single though, being a top 10 song?
No, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. I knew that we had created an amazing record. I knew that the record um would reach the ears, and it would reach them in the way that I wanted it to reach them. Um, and once you release a song like that, man, you just have to sit back and just watch and see what it does. And at the same time, as it was growing, we were just doing the things that we needed to do to make sure that we were connecting the dots.
Yeah, no, I mean, well done for that. I think there's a second song that I saw that you had. Here we go. Oops, sorry. I was saying that there was another song. Here we go, the Coco Jones song. I mean, was that
Yeah,
you took her song and then added, or was it did she invite you to sing? What was the? Because it sounded almost as if this was an official
yeah.
duet.
Yeah. So I take pride in I call them Q versions.
Yeah.
And Q versions started maybe like in 2010, where I just appreciate someone else's song so much that I just wanted to hear myself sing on it. And it's not that I'm trying to out sing somebody or outdo their song. This is just my way of saying I respect this song so much. that I want to add some vocals to it in a different perspective. Sometimes I'll make a song into a duet, or I'll just redo the full song, or I'll just add a verse to a male song, or whatever the case may be. And I typically like to do songs that are popular at the time. And
Mhm.
so the Here We Go record was one of the hottest songs during that time. And so I figured I would kick it off this new season of the Q versions with Coco's song.
Yeah, but the way it was edited, you would not think you'd think you guys were actually doing a duet. And I was thinking, oh, where's the
Yeah.
video for this? Did
Yeah.
did she hear it, you think, or did you?
I don't know. I think she heard it, but I mean, you know,
Yeah, but then it's your old label, Def Jam. They could have said, "Hey, okay, what a retreat if we can bring you guys back in on that."
well, the goal is to always just, provide the music. If it grows some legs, then it does that. But my goal is to just continue contributing great music and different approaches to the industry and to my genre.
Speaking of that, then, how did the Here We Go? Sorry, not Here We Go. Um, of your new single, "We Keep On Loving."
Yes.
The idea of okay, let's get the deal, two occasions, and then and sort of write a song on top of that. Who brought up that idea?
So the idea was originally crafted by the producer Ghost Kid, and then he sent it over to Rico Love, and I was in Miami doing another session with Rico with a good friend of mine, and before I left, he said, "Man, what are you working on?" I said, "I just finished my EP." He said, "Dang, man, is it done?" So the way that I was raising this game, man, it ain't done until it's released. And so he said, "Man, listen to this on your plane." And so I listened to it, and it was a verse of "Keep On Loving," and man, I just fell in love with it. And I think I wrote the second verse on the plane, and
Wow.
then a week later, I was back in Miami doing the full recording.
Wow. Wow. Did I mean did you instantly think it would fit into the EP? Did it add to it or did
Oh,
you
I
think
already, yeah, I knew it. As soon as I heard it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is." It's not like anything was missing, but it was a perfect fit. It was a perfect fit.
do you think Babyface has heard it because the original songwriter of that track?
Man, I love for him too, but again, you just show up and do what you do, and if it gets to the ears of the masses, I'm hoping that he hit me one day and say, "Hey, man, great job."
Yeah, I mean, I heard the story about Cupid, where there was no budget to
Uh-huh.
hire Face to do a track. So, that's- yeah. No, I said I heard the story about Cupid that was initially supposed to be. Oops. Yeah, no, so I was just saying that I heard the story about how Cupid initially was supposed to be Babyface was supposed to write, but then the budget was a little too high, so you guys recreated a Babyface track,
Yeah.
and so it just shows you
Yeah.
guys do have it in you too to create magic.
Yeah, it happened just like that. So we wanted a Babyface record because you think about the night in '95, it was "I'll Make Love to You," and Babyface just had a ring of just, man, he was going off. And so what he charged for a song was our full budget. And so we couldn't afford it. So we was like, you know what? How would Babyface write a song for 112? And we just channeled him, and that's how Cupid was created.
Man, can you imagine? So you don't even know what you guys are capable of doing unless you try it and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
oh, I know the single just Keep on Loving just came out. What's the plan for the EP? When does that come out, and do we get visuals for Keep on Loving You?
Yeah. Well, we're planning the visuals for Keep On Loving right now. I believe in allowing the records to simmer and just kind of slow cook. And so, which is why we released Big and we worked Big for about 5 or 6 months.
Wow.
We'll do the
Okay.
same thing with Keep On Loving. And then we'll release a third single in the fall. And the full EP will come shortly after the third single. So a fall EP release. And then I'll go back in the studio and start recording the next EP.
How many
So I just
songs
keep
would be
hitting
on,
back to back.
how many songs would be on the EP?
Eight.
Okay.
Eight.
Well, that's an album. If you think of Make It Last Forever and the Guy album and the
Yeah.
Bobby, Don't Be Cruel, they're all eight album songs. So that's an album. That's
Yeah.
an 80s album. So why you call it an EP?
So it started as 5 or 6. And so I could be wrong. It may be six. Azim, is it 6 or 7? Or is it 8? I don't know. How many is it?
It's eight. It's
It's
eight.
8.
That's
Okay,
an
well, yeah,
album.
full full
That's
EP. No, LP. LP.
LP, yeah. So that's like Thriller's eight, So that's eight was
Yeah.
my favorite album of all time is Make It Last Forever. 8 songs. The Guy album, 8 songs. So that's the perfect number for an album
What
because
does LP stand for? Azim, what does LP stand for?
it could
Long,
be,
long play.
yeah.
Long play. And EP
Yeah.
is what?
Extended play. EP came out when you used to do singles.
Uh-huh.
So you have like 2 or 3 singles, and you made an EP.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Long play and extended play. Got you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you just yeah, well, okay. So you got an old school album that you're calling an EP, but anyway,
Yeah.
we'll let
Yeah.
you we'll
Yeah.
let you off on that. You spoke about your partnership with Duran back in the day. Are you was there any were you guys even contemplating doing anything together, writing and producing?
That door is always open. He and I have an amazing relationship. And so yeah, if the right opportunities present itself, yeah, we'll get together and do what we do. It's just like riding a bike.
Yeah. How do you source the kind of producers you work with this today compared to before? I mean, because you talked about um Ghost as a Ghost Kid
Yep.
and Rico. I mean, how do you now start thinking about the kinds of producers that you could write to today?
So when I said earlier how I survey the landscape,
Yeah,
like I'm hearing the sounds of what's going on radio, and so I'm kind of like pinpointing like, okay, they get it. Okay, I would love to get in the studio with this person and this person. And so just kind of putting myself a list together of who I would love to work with. And Rico being almost from Atlanta, he and I have always crossed paths on how we love to work with each other. So he introduced me to Ghost Kid. And then for the rest of the production, Black Elvis and
Black Elvis.
Philly and that crew, they had done work on the Q Mike Slim and Duran album of 2018. And so I knew that they got the musicality that I wanted. And so I reached out to them. And so the album is comprised of production from Black Elvis and Ghost Kid, but then co-writers Rico Love and Philly.
Okay. And what about some of the old school producers? We talked about Tim and Bob and some of the ones Stevie J, the guys that kind of
Yeah.
shaped you back in the day. Do you think that they reaching out to them and collaborating is something that might work as well?
Yeah, yeah, I'm open to it all, man. I like to just be creative and I like to just create great moments and great music. And I'm always speak about contributions to the genre and to the legacy of the genre. And so um, I would love to get in the lab with Stevie and T&B and all of those guys because man, they got the sauce. So yeah, I would love to.
Okay. We talked about this earlier, but the Q Parker Legacy Foundation. Can you just explain, how that came about and what you do?
Yes. So the foundation was founded in 2016. It's called Q Parker Legacy Foundation, and we have two pillars: children and senior citizens. With the children, it's all about nurturing their gifts. Those that aspire to be in the entertainment business, nurturing their talent, but then also giving them the information and educating them on the business side of this industry. So we do a 2 week summer camp.
Mhm.
This will be our 10th year doing the summer camp.
10th year. Wow.
Later in the month, and then throughout the year we do workshops, whether it be songwriting, production, engineering. So we just kind of get connect with them that way. But then with the senior citizens, it's about just enjoying life and bringing smiles. We do active aging sessions, we do musical bingo, we do karaoke, and then at the end of the year, we do a caroling gala where I invite friends of mine to come, and we do this full produce. It's almost like an award show, just acknowledging the senior citizens. And we have about 500 to 700 seniors in the room, and they get
Wow.
dressed up. We give them gifts, prizes, raffles, and just love on them in a major way. And so this year will be our 13th year doing the Senior Caroling Gala.
And what inspired you to do both of them?
I just love children, man, and I love senior citizens. I had a great relationship with my grandmother who passed away in 2021. And so I just always love those two demos.
Mm.
The youth can be nurtured in a way that puts them on a trajectory to just be super successful. But then the seniors, they got all the wisdom, and so I like to just spend time with them to just get as much wisdom as I can from them. But then also to just appreciate that they are the matriarchs and the patriarchs of our community, and so they deserve to be loved on same way they love so many of us as grandparents. Like everybody
Mm.
loves their grandparents. And so the foundation, we wanted to make sure that as they're giving love, they're also able to receive some love.
And how can anyone support the foundation in it continuing its work?
Yes, qparkerlegacyfoundation.org. From donations to volunteers, um, any services, we welcome them. But yeah, and just helping us get the word out.
And then finally, the other thing that I noticed that you and I mentioned that this was during just after COVID, you were doing a lot of was your sort of the brotherhood, sort of
Yes,
you're
Brothers United
really
of Atlanta. I started Brothers United in 2016, and I'm really big on manhood, brotherhood, fellowship, and yeah, man, it's something amazing when you get men in the room to externalize and just be our authentic selves. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done. Brothers United of Atlanta. We meet once a month, and then every Monday morning we do a motivation, meditation, and prayer call for about 30 minutes every Monday morning via Zoom, and then once a month we meet in person and just do fella stuff.
wow. And is
Yeah.
that open? Is that mainly for men in Atlanta to be
Open
part of?
to, no, it's open to one. Come on, come one, come on.
And if people want to get information of that, would it be on your foundation page, or is there any other place to track?
Brothers brothersunitedatl.com.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I know that we started off and you mentioned you were in the studio doing recording and stuff. With all
Uh-huh.
my guests, before I wrap up, I always used to ask them that if you were in an elevator and you had to pick your favorite movie to watch, what would you pick?
Office Space.
Okay, is that the one with Juliet Anderson? It, it,
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Anderson. Okay,
She,
okay.
Jennifer Aniston. Yeah, she worked at the little restaurant with a lot of the little things on her uniform. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then also the final thing is that all-time favorite song. So not a 112 song, but just like your song that's like, man, this is my all-time favorite.
Man, you asking a musician to choose one song? That's impossible, man. That's impossible. Ooh, man, my favorite song, man, that's tough, yo. That is tough. I'm just gonna just name one, man. I
Yeah.
would say Marvin Gaye, Sexual Healing.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's that's an amazing song. Everyone has, from Elder Barge to Donnell Jones, have all picked individual songs. It's a Michael
Yeah.
Jackson song or Stevie Wonder song. So, but it's good to be able to let people get an insight as to a song that really
Yeah.
means something to you and stuff. I did ask, and with every group, I always have to ask. You did mention your favorite would be the debut. But if you had singles from your catalog, the 112 catalog, which five if we say, look, man, we need five of these great singles from the whole catalog, even if they weren't released, that you'd want to put on that Hollywood Walk of Fame, which five would you want personally to be selected from that 112 catalog?
Only You for sure. Cupid. Uh, Only You, Cupid. Love You Like I Did. Player. And number four would be Peaches and Cream, maybe.
Okay. What about To Over Now? Don't
Yeah.
you? It's Over Now. Do you like that one?
It's Over There is one of my favorites. Yeah. Yeah.
I still remember seeing you guys on the Apollo, and I was like, man, what a passionate song. I almost felt as if somebody actually left the group and you're like, man, trying to beg them back. So that's
Yeah.
definitely well, Q, definitely appreciate the fact that you took time out of the studio, sort of gave us a sort of a history tour of your life and with the group and especially what you're doing now. And I think especially if we're thinking about the community stuff that you're doing, 10 years supporting the young kids, teenagers, and 13 years with the elderly.
Yeah.
It's remarkable that for somebody who was raised by the community that you've been inspired to make sure that you give it back. So that's really a blessing to be able to hear, and hopefully it inspires those who are watching as well.
I appreciate that, man.
Yes. I think as my final question definitely would be everyone will be watching would just want to know if, you know, that if one day, you guys get it, the 112 gets inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, do you hope all four of you could be on stage and probably give us a final a final song and sing?
I do. Yeah, I do, man. I'm hopeful for a reunion. But again, man, all things happen in God's timing. I'm for sure open to it. And yeah, I just say I'm hopeful, man. I miss my brothers. It's nothing like performing next to them. And although I do enjoy being Q Parker as an individual artist, there's a part that remembers and understands that there's still some more that we have to do collectively. And
Yeah.
so I'll continue doing Q Parker. But again, I'm hopeful that soon, very soon,
Yeah.
we'll be able to do a reunion.
Hey, look, New Edition, when they came back with Bobby, they've taken it to another level. So you know,
Yeah,
the fact that you guys have split up and come back, that would definitely be a blessing to the many hardcore fans out there. But anyway, Q, we
absolutely.
appreciate you. When the I'll speak to Azim when it comes to the fall, when the LP is about to drop, so that we can probably do this live, so you can get the fans to ask questions and stuff. So, and we'll make sure you have space and time and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks very much, man. So and I'll put up all your links so people know where to follow you and keeping track of everything as well.
Okay, sounds good, man. You be careful.
Will do. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between
us, or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
I didn't get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay.
They don't understand what Joseph Boys winning Oscars.
Play it.
And all these guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.